Hey guys, and welcome back to the Playbook, where today we are talking Arsenal and everything Arsenal. So we're gonna get straight into it about the Arsenal. On the weekend, faced Newcastle, lost 1-0. The 12:30 kickoff. I hate them kickoffs. Not a big fan of them kickoffs. We faced them and we lost 1-0. Going into the game, I did mention on the video before that I was a little bit not confident, but I thought, listen, we're due a reaction, we're due a performance. So going into that game, I was a little optimistic that the team have something to prove. We didn't have a great result against Shakhtar Donetsk. We beat them in the midweek, but still, it was still on the edge. And of course, with the Liverpool result the weekend before, drawing that at home was obviously a bit upsetting. And we knew we had no room for error in the title race. So we went up to Newcastle. Obviously, the lineup initially straight away, Thomas Partey back at right back. I wasn't happy again because Thomas Partey has been one of our best midfielders probably this season. It has been our best midfielders this season, and shifting him to right back. I understand due to Ben White not being fully fit. Calafiori is obviously out, so Timber has to shift over to the left back. I understand due to circumstances, he's the best fit player to play there, but I probably would have gone for Timber at right back and maybe Zinchenko or Kivior at left back. And I know they're not fan favourites, and I know it is hindsight, but I just feel as though play proper defenders there. And because of the form Thomas Partey's in, I'd say just keep him midfield. But obviously, barring the lineup, I still expected a performance. We started the game kind of with no rhythm, with no intent. And obviously, the goal that they scored was a fantastic goal. You can't take that away from him. It wasn't bad defending. You could get onto Thomas Partey, obviously, for the header initially, but that was a bit. There was other events that led to that, and also you could get onto Gabriel and Saliba for the communication that they've been so excellent for. We laud them when they are fantastic, but when they are a bit asleep and tired, we don't. When they make errors, we don't really criticise. So I feel as though we can criticise both of them in that situation. Saliba for not telling Gabriel, and Gabriel for being a bit asleep. But the goal was a good goal. You can't take that away from him. But it was very early on, so I expected a reaction. I said. The people I was watching the game with, I said, listen, a goal before half-time will be good, and then it'll bring us momentum to try and get another goal in the second half. We didn't show anything after that goal. We deserved to lose that game. Probably the worst performance of the season so far. All around, just terrible. There was no standout performances. Everyone looked shaky. The back four looked shaky. By the 60th minute, I knew we might salvage a draw, but even then we don't look like getting anything from the game. We just look like, again, one of them games where we just don't look on it, which is, becoming a bit of a reputation now this season with certain games. We've been getting lucky a lot. It's not one of the performances where you can just put behind you and say, listen, it's Newcastle tough. I think there's more factors into the game, I think. Obviously, the lineup is a big thing. Of course, when Arteta put the subs on, of course, Zinchenko, I think he put Zinchenko, Jorginho, and Ben White on. Obviously, he put Jesus on as well. But not putting Sterling on, I think, is quite weird in a way, because you did buy him for situations like this, and obviously you bought him in as an attacking player. We're losing, and then you're bringing on other players. I agree with the Zinchenko substitution because I feel as though he's our next best creative player on the team that can open up defences on unlock them. But even he couldn't get any luck with it, and he was actually making the same mistakes for the reason why he's not really in the lineup now, and really why people want him gone. So all in all, with that game, it's a game that I was very disappointed with. I was very, very upset after the game. I spoke to the people around and I said, listen, there's big pressure on Arteta now because people are going to lack the patience now, purely down to it being, again, another game that we've dropped points in. We've not won a game in 3 in the Premier League. That's Bournemouth, Liverpool and Newcastle. We've got a tough game now on the weekend against Chelsea where we must win. If we want to stay in the conversation for the title race, we must win that game. So there is big pressure on Arteta as well. So I was a bit upset with that. Of course, the fact that Man City dropped points is a bonus to us because that does keep us at arm's length with them 5 points. It's still a big deficit to close. However, it's not 8 points, which would have been pretty much an end to all of the conversation of the title race. So Liverpool obviously on course on a good run, and we'll have to see how they fare. Obviously, it's still early. It's only 10 games in. We'll have to see how they fare. They've got a hard run coming up after the international break. But to stick on Arsenal, my thoughts on the game, it was a dull game. It's just one of them typical games that it just reminded me of a 2020 Arsenal where you just when you're losing in the game, you don't feel like you're going to score. So it doesn't matter if they scored early or late. I just didn't feel a reaction as opposed to last season. I expected reactions every game, so it was different. But that game you have to put past you. We have to and must deliver against Chelsea. Putting Ethan Wier on, of course, I forgot to mention that substitution. You saw now, many Arsenal fans called for him to start many games now that Odegaard was out. You saw he was a little out of his depth. There was a couple of positions that he didn't understand to play properly. He didn't know what positions to stand in and pick, like the Odegaards and the other ones that play in that position. And that's understandable. The kid is 17. But now I think people will understand, look, this is why Arteta doesn't play him, because, especially at these big grounds, because he can swallow you up. And I felt like he got swallowed up a little bit in that game, and he was out of his depth. And there was expectation for him to deliver as well. So the pressure was on, of course. So it was kind of like, to the people that get onto Arteta for not starting him, now I think people will slightly understand a little bit more why he doesn't play. To go on to Odegaard a little bit, obviously today, it's Wednesday, it's the 5th. Obviously, it's Tuesday the 5th. Champions League, we're facing Inter Milan away tomorrow, which is a tough game. I don't think Odegaard will play, but we've seen now he's back in training, which is obviously a positive. It will lift the players, it will lift the feeling around the club now, of course. However, it's a big pressure, big burden to put on one player to say, look, you're back now, fix it. I know Odegaard's a great player, top player, our captain on top of that. But to expect Odegaard to sort everything out and all the issues out is a bit risky, I'd say. So I don't really know for that. But I'm happy he's back, Now maybe we could see the return of certain players in their positions, in their favourable positions, like Hakz back up front, because what Arteta's asking him to do is pretty much a utility player. Like, he's winning headers in the right wing, left wing. He's dropping deep for the ball. He's covering. He's coming around to help Saka on the overlook. It's like he's getting asked to do a lot, as opposed to when Odegaard's playing. Odegaard does that, but Odegaard does that at such a high level. You expect that from him. We have to leave Hakz in the box where we need him most and where he is most effective. So I understand that. So I'm excited about Odegaard coming back. But the fact that Arsenal fans are saying, but we're missing if you lose one player and you capitulate, then I don't think you're a good team. So I think there's more facts to why we are not playing well and stuff than just to base everything down, just purely down to Odegaard's absence, which is a bit unfair. But I'm happy he's back. I think he will play the Chelsea game. He might have a bit of minutes against Inter Milan, depending on how that game goes. It'll be interesting to see how that game goes, and exciting to see how we're tested against a big club like Inter Milan. Also, to move on from that, another big thing that happened at Arsenal this week is, of course, Edu leaving. Edu Gasper. Obviously, he's been at Arsenal since, I think, 2019, 2020, so COVID year. He came, and he's been working alongside, quote-unquote, with Arteta in trying to build this club back to where it is. My personal opinion on Edu, listen, he did a fantastic job. Listen, no one can take that away from him, what he's done. Him and Arteta rebuilt this club to where they are now, to the expectations that I have now to win the league and win major trophies. He brought that. You can't take that away from him. Yes, did he make bad signings? Yes. Did he not make the signings we need? Yes. However, there's only so much he can do. I feel as though people expect too much from Edu. Edu's at a level where this was his first big job. I know people say Brazil, but Brazil national team, you don't really have to do much negotiation and stuff. So Arsenal, it was his first big job, and I felt as though he passed that test well. But I feel as though there was a bit of a shift in control and power at Arsenal in the past 2 years, I'd say. Especially, you've seen a lot of outgoings upstairs with a lot of people. We saw the Vinay, the CEO, leaving. Either he's left or he's on his way out. We've seen people come in. We've seen the emergence of Tim Lewis as basically the managing director, and Richard Garlick now also as a big factor at Arsenal now. He's kind of a CEO as well. So I feel as though Edu's power reduced by the minute. So I feel as though he might have thought he hasn't got as much power as he once had. Arteta has got full reins now. We knew this for a while now. Arteta is kind of like, a Klopp and a Pep in terms of controlling everything. He wants full control of absolutely everything at the club, what's going in, what's going out. Also, we've heard that Arteta's got basically, I think, final say, or not final say, or big voice in who comes in as director of football, which is very, very interesting, because director of football really is a guy that as well is going to be involved in, Arteta's job and his contract. So it's going to be really interesting, that dynamic. Obviously, I understand Arteta wants control, and it is fair enough. You want control. He's proved that he's earned that kind of control. But at the same time, we need to bring someone in that's going to challenge Arteta to go to the next level. I feel as though Edu was comfortable where he was. He brought in good players. I think he failed in the last transfer window. I feel as though the signings were failures. I think we were this close with City. You know, we're only 2 points behind them. We needed to bring players then to close the gap again. To bring in Moreno, Calafiori, and Sterling is not really inspiring to then close the gap. I think we needed ceiling raisers that needed to come into the club and take us to that next level. But you can't pin all that on Edu. You know, of course, Arteta has a big voice. We understood that we wanted Nico Williams as our number one target. We didn't get him, and I don't believe that Sterling was a plan B because of the timing of it. You know, we knew we wasn't getting Nico Williams, I think, with 2 weeks left in the window. So you had 2 weeks, I think, to get your plan B. I think Sterling was more for the fans and more for, listen, have this player. But the fact that he's not coming on when we need him, you know, Newcastle, he didn't come on against Liverpool. It shows that Arteta really is not really interested in playing him, and he plays him in the cup games and stuff. So, and I don't see him working his way into the team. Even how bad Martinelli's playing now, I don't see him working into the team. So, Edu, I think he did a good job. Obviously, people are going to question why he went to Nottingham Forest, why you're not going to see out what you did at Arsenal. You know, you built this project in the process. Why you're not going to see it out? I agree in that sense. However, if someone comes to you and triples your salary and offers you a CEO role at a club to control 3 or 4 different clubs, you're going to take it. You know, at the end of the day, you're going to take it. You're going to better your career. This is just purely business, I believe. I don't think there's internal issues. I think people are trying to make it. But you're hearing from the big journalists that it was no internal issues. It was Edu's decision to resign. There was a sense of him wanting to get a bit more control in terms of taking a couple more promotions, maybe being in the hat for the CEO role that was vacant in the summer. Obviously, that was vacated by Vinay. However, I don't think the board and the Kroenkes even considered Edu for the job. So I think maybe he saw that, and then maybe he's thinking, listen, he needs to look after his own career financially and stuff. So fair play, he did very well at what Arsenal did. He brought us to a point where we are now, you know, and now we have to look to bringing in someone that's going to, again, push Arteta and push the club to another level, push the owners to continue investing. So, you know, I don't think it's a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's not much to be talked about. It is what it is. You know, we'll bring someone else in to fill the role and do the job, and then in a couple of weeks, Arsenal fans will be happy. I don't think a board member leaving or a director leaving is something massive. You know, I think people are just trying to make the situation worse than what it was. So obviously, just wrapping up a little bit, we got Chelsea on the weekend. You know, my expectations every time Arsenal plays and Arsenal win. We should win. We need to win. We must win. I know it's at Chelsea and they're at home. I think Cole Palmer might be injured. I'm not sure on that. From that Alessandro tackle at the end of the game against Manchester United last weekend. We saw how they played against United. They wasn't great, but at home it's different. They're due a reaction. We're due a reaction. You know, there's big ramifications for both teams if they don't win. Chelsea dropping out the top 4, of course. I know it's early doors, but they want to continue that momentum. And also us probably will bring an end to the title race and kick us out the title race for good if we do perhaps lose to Chelsea. I don't even think a draw will be good enough. I think we must go there and win. That should be the mentality. We should go there and win. It's going to be very tough and it's going to be very nerve-wracking because we have to look at the games that Liverpool and City have got on the horizon. Some of them will drop points, and Liverpool and City are facing each other, I think, on December 1st. So in a couple of weeks, they are facing each other. So we must deliver in our own games and focus on our own games. My expectations for that game, this is more optimism than hope. I hope we beat them 2-1. Do I think we will? It's purely down to who we have available on the day. If Odegaard's fit enough to do a full 90 or maybe like a 60, we'll see. As well, is Ben White fit? Are we going to do the whole town's party again? If we're doing that again, I'm not as confident. I'm going to predict 2-1 because we're due a reaction now. We always do this every season where 3 games we just go blunt. We are due a reaction, so I hope this is the game that we do it. I'm saying 2-1 Arsenal. We struggled there last season when we was doing well. We did struggle there. We managed to luckily walk out with a draw. But I'm going to say 3-1. And then if we do win that game, I think we're right back in the title race. I think That's the win we need before international break. Of course, you don't want to lose a game before the international break, so it's a win game. I think there's more pressure on us than there is Chelsea. Chelsea in a position now where people are like, listen, they're doing well for where they are. There's more expectation on pressure on us, because if we do lose this, then I don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the season. My opinions on Arteta is, listen, for me, I tweeted it. Follow me on Twitter. I'll put it in the description. I said, listen, Arteta's got to go in the summer, and that was my opinion at the start of the when I first ever podcast I made, first ever video I made. I did say, listen, if Arteta doesn't win a major trophy, not a Carabao Cup or a major trophy, which is a Champions League and a Premier League, if he doesn't win that, we have to look elsewhere to someone that can take us over that line. That doesn't mean I'm Arteta out today. That doesn't mean I want him out of the club today. That means my expectation for him is high, going into the season. It still is high. There is still a chance. There's always a chance. It's November. It's November 5th. There's like 28 plus games left in the season. So why am I going to just write everything off now? I'm not going to scream Arteta's this, Arteta's that. He has made a lot of problems and mistakes this season already, but he has rectified them every time he has made a mistake. So I'm excited to see the reaction this week with Inter Milan and Chelsea. It's a good little test for us and our mentality, and see how we are. I think this is big for us for the rest of the season. I think this probably is going to be the biggest week for the rest of the season, just to prove where we are as a club mentality-wise, and see how we kind of face adversity. And what comes from that, we'll have to see at the end of the season. So that's all for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Very nervous. More nervous for the Inter Milan game than the Chelsea game, because, Inter Milan, you don't know what to expect. You really don't know what to expect. I think they won on the weekend. Lautaro Martinez scored. They won on the weekend. So I'm nervous for that game, because there's going to be a lot of eyes on that game. A lot of people are going to be watching that. The Chelsea game, I feel as though we know what to expect with Chelsea and stuff, so we know how they're going to play and stuff. I've not got much information on Inter Milan, so I'm going more nervous into this game than the Chelsea game. Hopefully we'll see what happens with that game. We need 6 points. We need 6 points out of both games, realistically. I know we've done one in the Champions League. We've conceded no goals and won 2, drew 1. So we've done well in that aspect. But now I feel as though we really need a statement win away from home in the Champions League. So we'll see how we get on with that. So yeah, like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe, like, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon.